We have some posters here: Rastelli, Francis Brunn, Rastelli, Cinquevalli, Cara, and then the alphabet of innovative jugglers. So we start here. We have props from the Brunn family: Francis Brunn, Lottie Brunn, Michael Sherrick. Up here we have the white ball is the Lottie Brunn ball. The yellow one is Francis. And we have Francis's hat and his shoes up top. And then we have 2 shelves of Ernest Montego props. Some wonderful, unique props there. Mouth sticks, head pedestals, ring, clubs, some more clubs. These 3 balls are the three balls that he learned to juggle with. This club in the front is one of his first juggling clubs he learned to juggle clubs with. So some wonderful props. So everything here is from the same family. Francis Brunn, Lottie Brunn, and Ernest Montego were siblings, and Michael Sherrick is Lottie's son. And then down here we go to Gildova props. We've got his clubs and cigar boxes and balls, and his mini umbrella, and even a mouse stick there, although he did not perform with the mouse stick. And on the bottom we have 2 what are called Bengali torches. They're color-changing torches from 2 extremely important jugglers. The one on the left is Selma Bratz, who was probably the very first female juggling star, international star. And then the one on the right is from Frank Ledent, who back in around 1908 performed 11 balls and 9 plates in his act. Here we have an autographed picture of Frank Ledent there on the left, and an autographed picture of Cinquevalli, Paul Cinquevalli, and an autograph of Rinka Rastelli. And hi. Here we have some Bobby May props. We've got 2 top hats, and a wooden cigar, and a ball that he used for head rolling during his ice skating shows. We've got Bobby May Derby there. And I want to draw your attention to this cup here that shows him doing the illustration of Bobby doing the upside down ball bounce trick, because right here we have his table, his headstand table. He would put his head right here and his feet up in the air, and he would juggle these 5 balls off of a drum, which would be on the floor. Here are 4 of Bobby May's clubs, and back there we've got a fake umbrella that he would juggle with as well. Here's a picture of Bobby juggling those 4 clubs. So wonderful Bobby May props. We've also got Bobby May's prop trunk here, and a statue of Bobby May. Next we have a shelf of props from the 3 most famous gentleman jugglers of all time. Gentleman jugglers were famed for using things you would find in a Victorian gentleman's home. So obviously plates, billiard equipment, household candles, hats, anything like that. And so we have the yellow plate here was used by Salerno. The club there is a lighted club, which is used by Salerno. It has 4 light bulbs inside of it and an early flashlight battery. And then the candle there was a self-lighting candle, which has a mercury switch inside so that when it was flipped, and it also has an early flashlight battery so that when it was flipped, it would ignite some flash paper on the end there, and that would ignite a wick. And he would flip it from a candlestick into the air where it would light, and then he would catch it balanced on his forehead. The red ball there is a ball from Felix Adonis. And then these 2 plates were originally Salerno's, but they were given to Kara, the famous German juggler, after Kara got out of being a prisoner of war during World War I and had no props. So Salerno gave them to Kara to use. And eventually they were given to Bobby May. And eventually they worked their way to me. So those are all amazing props. Down here we have a plate from Trixie, the incredible ice skating juggler. She would juggle 6 of these plates, while bouncing a ball on her head. And then we've got a stick and a top hat and a ball and a shaker cup from Rudy Cardenas, the most famous Mexican juggler of all time. He's the performer who popularized shaker cup juggling, and that's one of his shaker cups. Here we have props from Picasso Jr. and Grand Picasso, his father. Grand Picasso is most famous for popularizing ping pong juggling with the mouth, but he also juggled with balls and boomerang plates, which is the yellow plate there. And his son Picasso Jr. Also did ping pong ball juggling with his mouth, but most famously was incredible at bouncing up to 4 balls, ping pong balls, off of a paddle. And so you can see a paddle and ball there. Here we have a club from Eva Vida. That is a plush club. It's squeezable. It's obviously covered with beading and rhinestones and has a mother of pearl handle to it. It's a wonderful, wonderful prop. Down here we have 2 hats from Chris Cremo. His top hat on the left and derby on the right. And of course he's super well known for his hat and cigar box juggling. Here we have 2 balls. The one on the left is from Rob Murray, and the one on the right is from Michael Motion. It is one of his triangle bouncing balls. All right, let's move on. A little panorama of some of the room here before we get to more detail. Up top here, we've got some props from the greatest Chinese jugglers that we're aware of. We've got the Chen brothers on the left rings. And there's multiple rings there. And then the badminton racket. And one of the Chen brothers would perform up to 10 rings, and another one would perform up to 7 and 7 badminton rackets, and sometimes in practice do 8. And then the white ring there is one of Zhongmen Lin's rings, and he is an incredible juggler, can qualify 10 rings and flash 12 rings. And here we have this cabinet is mostly Russian or Soviet jugglers. We've got a aircraft aluminum ring from Alexander Kiss. Very few Alexander Kiss props still exist. Most of them were lost in a house fire, but He made that one, and it's actually discussed. That ring is discussed in his autobiography. And then the two rings in front are from Sergei Ignatov, the incredible juggler, known to most people in the community. I have two clubs. I would love a ring, so I'd gladly trade one of my clubs for a Ignatov ring. Here are some props from Massimiliano Truzzi. We've got a juggling stick, a ball, 3 of his giant bulb clubs, and 4 of his practice clubs. Those 4 practice clubs were made by Stu Reynolds. Those objects are on loan to us, except for the white stick in front, on loan to us, permanent loan from the Truzzi family. Here we have 2 clubs from one of my favorite jugglers, Evgeny Belauer. The club in the front was used for 4 to 7 clubs, and the squared off club in the back was used for 3 clubs. He's certainly one of the greatest club jugglers of all time, extremely innovative and ahead of his time. On the next shelf, we have 2 clubs from Gregory Popovich. Gregory has been here to the museum and has had previously given me things. And when he saw the club in the back, which is kind of, you can take apart and see how it's made, he asked me where I got that, because he hadn't sent it to me. And I said, well, when you were with Ringling Brothers Circus in 1990, you threw that club away, but a clown got it out of the garbage and saved it and eventually sent it to me. And so he thought that was very funny. I've got some other props from Gregory that you'll see in a little bit. Well, actually, one of them is right there. It's that brown hat right in the middle of the screen there. And I've got a ring somewhere on the ring wall, which we'll get to. On the bottom shelf, we have clubs from Vladimir Miakostapov and his father, and Anatoly, and from Anatoly and his partner, Viktor Flipovich, their other act, which was known as the 2 Miakostapovs. And so those are great Russian clubs. All right, moving on. Here we have club on the left is a cork club made used by Manuel Alvarez, and then the ball and the club on the right are used by his cousin, Pepito Alvarez. It's also a cork club, but it's, as you can see, decorated. And so both very famous, very accomplished jugglers. Here we have a hat and cigar box, which was used by Rudy Schweitzer. And we have a cup and saucer used by Charles Carrer from Switzerland. Here we have a ball and a ring, and a ball and a ring from Alberto Sforzi, the incredible Italian juggler, and then a club from the Chiesa brothers, also from Italy. Now we have a whole shelf of props from Dieter Tasso. We've got top hats and cigar boxes and balls and a cup and saucer. Dieter had one of the longest careers of any juggler ever, and really great guy. Here we have some props from Rudi Horn, incredible German juggler. We've got rings. The back ring is from 1945. It's the oldest plastic ring that I'm aware of existing. And the wooden ring in front is from 1942, which is actually the oldest wooden ring I know that still exists. I'm sure there are older ones that still exist, But you'll see later on in another video the oldest juggling rings we know to exist ever. They're in another room. And so we also have a saucer and a cup and a dessert cup that he kicked onto his head on a giraffe unicycle. And here we have a ball and a ring from Italo Medini, an incredible juggler of the middle 20th century. Up top, once again, we've got a Popovich hat there, and then we've got a hat from Natalie Interline here. Very good, very nice. Speaking of hats, here we have a boomerang hat on the left and a toss juggling hat on the right from Tuan Lee, certainly one of the greatest hat jugglers of all time. Incredible, incredible artist and wonderful man as well. Here we have a club and a incredible juggling disc and a mouse stick from the Riveros brothers. If you don't know who they were French jugglers from the 1920s and 30s and 40s and 50s probably, who did, one brother did inverted juggling. He would juggle clubs while doing a headstand. He could, and while spinning rings on his feet. He performed it with 3, but he could do 5 in practice. And then the other brother did incredible things on a slack wire, combination tricks, both standing and also while doing a one-handed handstand. And the weird shaped mouse stick there, so he could spin a plate on the end of the mouse stick while doing a one-handed handstand on a slack wire and doing other things with his other hand and both of his feet. All right, moving on. Here we have some props from Freddie Kenton. We've got a shaker cup and a ring and 2 mouth sticks. Freddie is probably the oldest juggler in the world that still is performing. And then we've got balls and rings from Luli Perezoff. She was a child prodigy. She could juggle 8 balls in the air and 8 balls bouncing. And so we've got rings and balls there from her. Next we have props from Chris Holt, the famous hair hanging juggler. We've got a club there and a spinning ball and a toss juggling softball. And then the apparatus in front is from her father, Bert Holt, who would do his whole act hanging from an iron jaw. And so this piece here would have a piece of leather on it, and he would bite down onto that, and then he would be hauled up to the top of a circus ring or a stage, and he would do incredible juggling tricks hanging by his teeth. All right, the bottom 2 shelves here are props from Gus and Ursula. Gus Loppe and Ursula Hill Loppe. They were juggling stars of the 1940s, 50s, 60s, 70s. And so we've got, you can see a little statue thing there showing one of their tricks. We've got head pedestal and mouse stick and another mouse stick and a ball-in club there and a spinning toss juggling ball there. And down here we've got rings and more practice ball-in clubs and a cork club down there. And then we've got some clubs and ping pong balls from Tony Furcos. Tony is an incredible club juggler, especially known for his footwork, but also is a Guinness World Record holding ping pong juggler with his mouth, doing up to 7 ping pong balls. And so that's a wonderful little display from Tony. Here we have what I call the wall of rings and hoops. We've got from left to right on top, we've got the Riverhouse brothers and Amaron Rosval and Evgeny Belauer here. And we've got Thomas Dietz. Those are the rings he learned to juggle rings with. And we've got the Chiesa brothers. And we've got a whole set of Bob Ramson hoops, the 4 sizes that he used. Bob Ramson is famous for being perhaps the best hoop juggler of all time. Some people think he's equal with Howard Nichols, who we'll see here in a little bit. A funny story, when Bob didn't want to practice, his father would say, "You'll never be as good as Howard Nichols." And so that was pretty funny. Here we have 2 rings from Henrico. We've got a fiberglass hoop from Carter Brown, and inside we've got a ring from the Carlsons. Down here we've got a juggling ring from Kyle Driggs, and we've got an old wooden ring from Dominic Denis. All right, we'll come back to the center thing here in a moment. Here we've got a ring from Patrick Elmnart, a leg ring from Ernest Montego, a color change ring from Eva Vita, a ring from Peter Watson. Here's the Howard Nichols hoop. He did some amazing things. We've got a wood ring from Joe Taylor, Juggling Joe Taylor. There's a Gregory Popovich ring in white. A Bobby Jewell ring there in the middle. Dana Tyson. Fabiano Stevanovic right there. We've got the 2 Linas. These are wooden rings. And another Bobby Jewell leg hoop. And then here in the middle, we've got a whole lot of props and things from, starting with Anthony Gatto. We've got Anthony Gatto's Award of Excellence from the IJA, the first one ever given, and the trophy he won at the Monte Carlo Circus Festival when he was young. And then we've got an assortment of props here. Here in the front, we've got the clubs he learned to juggle clubs with. They're table legs with balls glued to the end. Those are amazing that we have that. In the back, we have the rings that he learned to juggle rings with. And then we've got a club from a second set of clubs that his father made for him. And then a numbers club and various other clubs of his. Some of his balls. The one on the left there is a painted pinky ball he used for most of his career. And the one on the right is a stage ball. And the red ball there was one he juggled at the beginning of one of the Cirque shows, and then one of his modern rings in the back. And then down here we've got his trophy when he won the IJA championships, and then a bunch of his gold medals. And yes, I know some of the ones on the right look like they're not gold, but they are all gold. Anthony only ever won gold medals, I believe. And then down here we've got props from Albert Lucas. The yellow ring and the white thin club in the middle are from Albert Lucas's. The 2 clubs in the back and the ring on the right are from Albert's brother David Lucas. And then the 3 props in the front, the 2 balls and the club, the golden club, were Dick Franco's. And so that ends the first part of the museum tour. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned some neat things. We'll see you in part 2.